And so, Kevin, if I underperform the S&P 500, what should I do? So, how have you been?
I've been
Late summer.
Yeah, it is getting late. Nico's going off to college next week, so we're kind of getting prepared for that, trying to get in all our last moments. So it's as if everything, I mean, nothing's really coming to an end other than the fact that he's going off to school, and that's kind of weird. So, yeah, not sure what to expect, but Monday we'll be dropping him off, and then, yeah.
This Monday?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you're making the trek with him?
Yeah, so
That's
we'll
good.
We'll
That's
be
good.
taking him down there, dropping him off, and then he starts training the following day, and then I think then they start traveling for games, so like their preseason games.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So he goes to Wisconsin and
Oh, really?
Illinois and Pennsylvania.
That's pretty far away.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Summer's been good for us too. It's not necessarily to the same extent as dropping some kids off for college per se, but got one starting kindergarten pretty soon, one starting preschool, and so it's a lively household nonetheless.
Yeah. You're on the different end of the spectrum.
Yes,
right now.
yes.
Yeah.
But back to school shopping. Let me tell you, that has overwhelmed me in all the best ways.
Yeah, all the lists and things you've got to get.
Well, it's all the stuff that you don't think about.
Sure.
And then, of course, I'm trying to be a bargain hunter and trying to think about, okay, I'm not going to go cheap out on certain things, but you forget, like, I've never been shopping for a kid's backpack before.
Oh, yeah.
I was rather
They're not
surprised.
cheap.
No.
Yeah, they're like $60, $80 for a backpack.
And I guess I was thinking maybe 20 or 30 bucks. Now, I've done zero research beforehand, and so maybe that was a little more of an unhinged take myself.
Yeah.
But
So I got a question. Do you get a new backpack every year? Like when you were growing up, did you get a new backpack every school year?
I think it was elementary school. Middle school, I had two in the same year, but I lost one.
Okay. And you
And then
fully
in the
lost
first couple
it?
weeks,
Like never found it?
I never found it.
Wow, you wonder like what happened? Where is that
No
bag?
idea.
What happened to it?
Somewhere at middle school. And then
Yeah.
for high school, I guess there's been 3 or 4 different ones.
Yeah, so I
about
feel
you?
like I don't really recall. I feel like I used the same bag for like all of elementary. I mean, I went to the same parochial school, right? 1st through 8th grade, and then after
Sure.
that. But I don't recall. It just seems like now with my kid, every year you have to go backpack shopping,
Okay.
right? Like we've been
Maybe
sold
the
on this
trends with
idea.
social media changing that fast. Or you think about the wear and tear, maybe they're a little more, what do you call it? Maybe not
Yeah, they're
built
not as well made. Yeah, that's probably. I'm sure that's part of the.
Because you
case.
think about it, as a kid, I was probably pretty forgetful. So maybe I forget lunch time or two. Maybe it's at the down of the crevices of that backpack, and eventually you don't want to keep that backpack.
Yeah,
around.
exactly. Yeah. Now the one thing I do remember shopping for each year was a Trapper Keeper. Did you even? You don't even know what that is, do you?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's escaping me right now.
It's like a really fancy, like 3-ring binder that you had to open up, and it had these cool images on it. You had kept your folders and
okay, sure.
in it and everything. And it was really exciting every year to get your new Trapper Keeper.
I gotta say, never had one.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
well, you missed out because it was a big deal. Yeah.
I believe you. I mean, I've heard about them. Just
Speaking of big deals and childhood and whatnot, by the way, what I discovered over the weekend shocked me. Chuck E. Cheese no longer has animatronics.
What's it? What? I guess I'm a little confused. What's
Animatronic?
Yeah.
So animatronic is like the dancing animatronic bears. Are you familiar with like Freddy Fazbear or any like the
No,
Five Nights
not at all.
Freddy's?
I've only been to Chuck E. Cheese's once.
Okay. So it used to be that they had like a band of like, you had Chucky and whatever, the other characters, and they would like, a curtain would open up and they'd be singing songs. But there were
I've
these.
seen that. Yeah.
There were these like robots basically.
They got rid of them?
Yeah, they're gone. They don't do them anymore. So I was
It
shocked.
was like a
and
liability, or
disappointed.
just
I don't
maybe
know.
a lack of interest for the kids.
Maybe it was the Five Nights at all the kids were getting scared. Are you familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's?
Loosely.
So it's like a really popular game for kids, like on the iPad and whatnot. And there's a couple of movies out now, and it's all about these animatronics at this, like 80s.
You just solved your own
pizza
mystery.
place. Yeah, so maybe just kids were afraid, like no,
just a bad association with it. I guess. Yeah.
I can't believe we're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Abby's gonna get a kick out of that.
Hey, it's I guess it's all the kick nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely something that animatronics got fired for.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They got laid off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird considering AI and robots and how much those kind of things are.
I mean, you can pretty much type any prompt and boom, comes up for you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord knows what that's going to be in 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Maybe Chuck E. Cheese, maybe they're on the forefront of AI. Maybe they got
Yeah.
something else, in their back
Something else
laboratories. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
So coming full circle around, we have a very, very fun topic today that could be sometimes a little bit taboo, and it's all about clients and questions they're afraid to ask their advisors for one rhyme or one thing reason. So I'm sure you've heard of plenty of things over your 15, 20 careers inside wealth management.
Yeah.
I've heard of some things, and so let's get this started.
20 plus. I appreciate 15, 20, but we're nearing 25. Yeah, we're very close to 25 at this point. But yeah, you get a lot of questions, some repeat questions. I think one that's a hot topic is just credit cards, right? Like, are
Without
they
a doubt.
evil? What's the best one? How about yourself?
No, I think that's a top one. I think for a lot of people growing up, they hear a lot of people, unfortunately, getting into credit card debt.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the APR that's associated with those cards,
Right.
if you miss one payment, that's a pretty big ding.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point, like you use the word debt, and I think is really important. There's credit card usage, and then there's credit card debt. So there's a responsible way to use credit cards and use them to your benefit. You can get points. There's protections, fraud protections, insurances, a lot of things associated with credit cards that are big benefits. It's the debt that's a problem, right?
100%. And I think, too, for some people, they might just get a credit card nowadays because it's metal. And so it kind of has some weight behind it.
Yeah.
Or it has a very nice design, leaving, of course, the practicality behind it. Now, that's the very boring answer. That's going to be the nerdy answer from me. But I feel like for a lot of people, once there's that debt associated with it, or that debt kind of word, especially a debt at 20 to 25, maybe even, I think it maxes out at like 27 or 28%.
Yeah.
But once you go compare that maybe to an auto loan that might be at 6 or 7%, or a house loan, if you're lucky enough to have it at 2.5 or 3%,
Yeah.
that's a large number. It can snowball pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, credit card debt is a bad thing. You almost have to have a credit card in today's world for a lot of different whether it's you're going to a hotel or renting a car or something, they almost require. And you don't want to use a debit card for something like that.
No, because the holds can take a lot longer to go clear off too.
Yep, the holds. And if there is fraud, like God forbid there's fraud on your debit card, which is affecting your cash flow, like your bank account.
Sure.
Where if there's fraud on a credit card, at least it's, it can be solved before you have to make a payment. But yeah, responsible credit card use. Now, if you just know that you're going to be irresponsible with a credit card, then my suggestion is don't get it. Or get it and restrict the limit.
Absolutely.
Okay? So like an example of that would be, and I've talked about this before, I think, but for my oldest son, for Nico, I gave him one of my credit cards, but I reduced the limit to $500 and said, hey, you're not using this unless we talk about it, but I need you to have this in case you're, driving to Kalamazoo or something and you blow out a tire or for whatever reason you need access to some credit. You've got something available. So, but yeah, you have to be honest with yourself as to whether or not you can manage the credit card and manage the debt, because you don't want to get into a place where you're spending a lot of money and paying a lot of interest.
I couldn't agree more. And then the two last points I'll bring up too, depending upon the type of company and the app that's behind it, something that I find really useful is that, of course, it tracks your spending. And so I think it's pretty cool, nerdy, again, I will say, to go track what you're spending every single month.
Yep.
What does it look like at the year end? And so perhaps maybe you're spending X on dining. You're like, oh, I had no idea I was spending X on dining.
Yeah.
Other really cool thing is there is what would you call it? Credit monitoring.
Oh yeah.
And so not necessarily having to go
It's
get
important.
that third-party app or third-party website per se.
Yeah.
Rather, the credit card company might be doing that via an app inside their ecosystem. So
Yeah.
I found that pretty cool. But long way of saying credit cards, they can be very nice, but used effectively and smartly.
Yeah, you have to be really responsible with it. The other thing I do want to mention is that sometimes, you've got a married couple or just partners, right, that are together, and maybe they have cards in their own name. Do you disclose that to your partner if you have a debt there?
I think you should.
Yeah, I mean, it feels
Yeah.
like it. I mean, I think people get themselves sometimes into trouble when they don't openly talk about their finances, right? And suddenly, one person in the relationship is running up a debt, and maybe is afraid to share that with their partner and what that, and it can lead to some tough conversations and some hurt feelings.
Oh, strained emotions too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I know what will also cause some potential strained emotions is people in underperformance.
Yeah,
Especially sometimes when they see their market ripping and their portfolio might still be doing very well, but perhaps not as much as the S&P. And so, Kevin, if I underperform the S&P 500, what should I do?
well, I think you need to visit with, if you have a financial advisor, you need to visit, and if your understanding is that you should be keeping pace with the S&P 500, then I'd sit and have a conversation with my advisor and ask why, right? And they should be able to very easily explain to you why you're not tracking the S&P 500. If it comes back to, well, yeah, you should be tracking with it, but you're underperforming it significantly, say more than 150 or 200 basis points or 1% or 2%, then the next question is why, right?
And there could be a whole list of litany of reasons behind doing that, whether perhaps they're looking to go steer you in investments that are less risky than the market, hopefully able to participate more on the upside, or perhaps another common misnomer is, okay, maybe I should be keeping up the S&P 500, but maybe your portfolio doesn't necessarily contain the S&P 500. Maybe there's large stocks, small stocks, international, maybe some bonds from in there as well. So in times where the S&P does sell off and you're down 15, 20%, people's portfolios, I mean, I wouldn't want to go feel that.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, though, it would be weird if someone just tracked the S&P 500. Now, it depends on the individual, right? If you're a 25-year-old and you're investing in your Roth IRA or something, it might be, the answer could be, a very simple answer would be buy an ETF in the S&P 500, just track the index, right? But if you're someone that's more established and has saved more money, and particularly if you're getting closer to retirement, you're going to want a much more diversified portfolio so that you're not only at the risk of the S&P 500.
Of course. And I think for a lot of people too, one thing they get misrepresented is the U.S. is the whole stock market. When you go think about think about this for a second. If you think about the whole world stock market as a pie chart, the U.S. only makes up 65% of that. So do you want to necessarily be restrictive of the other 35-40% of companies around the globe, or perhaps the rest of the U.S.?
Yep. So I think it's a tough, it's a question that deserves a
you
conversation.
Need context.
Yeah. It deserves a lot of context.
Emotions could pop up, but take a deep breath.
Yes.
Ask some questions.
Yep.
Get some further understanding.
Yep. Absolutely. Next up, should you and your spouse or partner share a bank account? And if so, what does that look like? Is it a hybrid type of relationship? What do you think?
So I do. We have 100% joint accounts. Everything goes in the same pot of money. It's easier for us to go flow.
Yeah.
However, I've seen that work very well. I've seen that not work for others very well.
Sure.
And so I think it really depends upon the individual, because what I've also heard work well is they each have a pot of money maybe for commingled expenses for the house. Like, let's go pretend the heating bill, the mortgage, the auto insurance, but then maybe you have separate accounts, maybe for, sound bad, fun money.
You've just described my household.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So we have the joint account for like the fixed expenses, you know, the mortgage, the gifts for the kids, traveling, whatever it may be, you know, the consumer's energy bill, things like that. And then we each have our fund money. You know, I think now we each have access to those accounts. It's not like we're hiding purchases from one another. Not like there would be anything to hide. But yeah, I think it's important that you have some freedom. I mean, both Jody and I work, and so you deserve to benefit from the fruits of your labor a bit and get some things that you want, regardless of whether or not Jody thinks I need a new putter or not. I might want a new putter, and I don't want to have an in-depth conversation about it. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I think there's multiple solutions to that.
Yeah.
100%. So next question here. How much should I need to retire?
Yeah.
Do I need $5 million to retire?
Right.
Do I need 10 million, Kevin?
I think that's a really common question. It's like one of those things you'd hear at like a dinner party, right? Hey, how much do you think you need to retire? And it's a really, it's a question that's so specific to an individual, to their family, to their spending habits, to their needs, that there's no one right answer, right? I think, you know, some people, for some reason, 3 million seems like a number that a lot of people gravitate to. That might sound crazy to some of the people that are listening right now, because maybe it is crazy. I have clients that have much less than that and live very comfortably, and don't need for anything, right? And then I have other clients that need much more than that in order to live the lifestyle that they want to live. So it's a very personal question and answer.
And I think too, to dovetail a little bit on that topic, it can really range quite widely for people too, because some people, they save their whole life, and eventually they form this type of, okay, a very frugal mindset. So once they go into retirement, maybe they thought that, so very generally, the 4% rule, $3 million,
right?
You could theoretically take out $120,000 per year,
Yep.
and theoretically never run out of money.
Right.
That's generally rule of thumb, 120.
And not even impact the principal, really.
Yeah, no, not at all. Good point. And so for some people, they might be targeting $3 million by being frugal, and maybe by the time they're 60 or 65, they're like, well, we thought we might need 120,000, but maybe it's more like 50 or 60K because we have Social Security over here.
Sure.
Maybe we have some rental properties that we maybe inherited over here. So
Yep. Yeah, and then I've worked with clients on both sides of the equation, right? Folks that need more and folks that don't need nearly as much. I guess the one thing I don't meet with too many people that don't regret saving, right? But at the same time may have some regrets about like things they didn't do or things they wish they had done while they had the money, right? So I think there's definitely there's a happy medium somewhere between saving and spending, right? And you have to know what that is for you. We talk about this all the time on the show. That's where a financial plan comes into play and why that's so important. So that you have a good understanding of what you can do and what you shouldn't do.
So tying into that question, imagine I'm 25, 30, 35, 40 years old, what may have you, and I'm trying to save as much. Actually, let's go pretend I'm 50 years old, 10 years, 15 years for retirement. I'm trying to fast track because I know, Kevin, I need to go have $3 million, and let's just go pretend I'm at 1.5 or 2 million.
Yeah.
Could happen, might not happen.
Sure.
What may have you. Should I just put everything in the S&P 500, let it ride?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, because you could end up with in a situation that you don't want to be in, right? I mean, listen, over the long term, you said you had 15 years.
15 years.
That's a pretty good amount of time, right?
Should I be all gas?
But for some people, they might be comfortable with that. 15 years is much more predictable than like 3 to 5 years. I guess my answer being, if you have time, equities make a lot of sense. But if you don't, you definitely need to consider way more diversification.
And throttle it back too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at that point, to your point, 15 years, you're definitely a little more in the predictable range. But imagine you're 5 or 7 years out, you're trying to go eke out those returns.
Right.
I've shared this with clients in the past. Okay, well, this could easily continue to perform how it has, but to the same token, the volatility that we see as the price for admission to be able to go invest in these products. And so as simply as it could be up 10, 15, 20% a year, we might also see it downtrack by 10, 15% a given year. And so it goes and cuts both ways. And so I feel like within investing, a big part is potentially risk mitigation, the risk management behind the portfolio management itself. And so being able to go take some of the risk off the table, I feel like can help alleviate a lot of stress.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't need the risk, why take it, right? Again, this goes right back full circle to the plan again, right? Risk-based investing, if you don't need to own 100% stocks, do you really want to? How do you sleep at night with that sort of volatility? And if you sleep well, then, hey,
all for you.
Yeah. But if you don't, then dial it back a little bit, work with your advisor, your planner to get the right asset allocation so that you have a much steadier ride.
Yeah. Without a doubt. So moving on, this is very polarizing from what I've seen over Reddit last couple of days, helping, not Reddit, but the broader internet, trying to help prepare for this episode. So should someone pay off their mortgage rate if it is 3, 4, or even 5%?
Yeah.
What do you think? Because people think, again, going back to the credit card example, debt bad, very bad.
Right.
That's what some people think.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. I have a 2.375, and I know I've probably talked about this ad nauseum here on this show, but I have a very low rate mortgage, and I view it as an asset, right? I mean, it's incredibly low. There's no reason for me to pay it off any sooner. For some people, the answer, it's a bit of an emotional question, right? Because some people are so averse to debt that they just don't want to see it. Does it make the most mathematical sense? Does it make scientific sense to pay it off? Absolutely not. But not every decision is just going to be based on the numbers. Some of it's going to be based on the emotion tied to that. So
I know for a lot of people too, they take the mindset of, okay, well, let's go pretend I have an extra, I'm gonna go make this number up, $5,000 at the end of the year. Does it make more sense to pay off the debt? Let's go use 2.4%, round it up a little bit. Or should I invest that money? Perhaps maybe I'm able to go earn 5% or 6%. So for some people, they use that construct of, okay, I know I'm paying off that debt. I'm effectively taking 2.4% off the table in a year. Or maybe I take that money and can I earn above that 2.4%?
right, yeah, and I think that's where an advisor can really earn their keep, right? Is by helping you make decisions like that, and by really understanding you, building a relationship with you to know what the impact of that might feel like to that individual.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So how appropriate is it to treat your children differently inside estate planning?
Boy, that's a tricky one. I think in many cases it is appropriate, but I think you have to talk about it. I think some transparency can be really helpful. But I think it's also going to be quite common that one person may get something different than another. In my world, I'm all about fairness, right? So I'm going to try my best to make sure that everyone benefits similarly. I don't know. What do you think?
I think communication
Yeah.
ahead of time means the world everything. I think back to a movie which has nothing to do with estate planning on the forefront, but remember the movie Gran Torino?
Oh, yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Beautiful Ford.
The vehicle.
Is it Ford? Yeah, Ford Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Ends up in the backhand of the movie after he passed away. Who does the Gran Torino go towards?
Right.
Neither kid. I'm sure if Clint Eastwood would have been a little more communicative and shared with his kids, hey, maybe you should come around a little more often. Maybe you should spend some time with me. Maybe there could be a lot of litany of reasons behind why he chose to give the Gran Torino to, I can't remember the actor's name now.
Yeah. Right. No, it's been a long time since I've seen it. But I think to your point, you have to talk it through, right? I think everyone, because there can be some hard feelings if, after,
certainly.
right, beyond the grave. And why didn't dad leave me the Gran Torino? Or why did he leave more to my brother or my sister, whatever it may be? Without any context, it could be really difficult to kind of get a read around that or to understand why.
Yeah.
So I think talking it through. In other cases, right, sometimes you could have an irresponsible child, and you don't want to. You want to help them help themselves.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No.
So,
I think something else that's special too, and please feel free to go chime in more about this. I know you deal with this a lot more directly than I do over investments, but how important is it, do you think? I feel like there's almost a resurgence of people gifting more in their lifetime versus waiting until after they're passing to necessarily have the handoff.
Yeah, I do see that. I don't see it honestly as much as I'd like to, because I do think, like for myself, I think I would love to be able to observe my kids enjoying, what they're going to receive, that inheritance that they're going to receive, right? And I know how helpful that could be to them, like in their younger years, if they need help, buying a home or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's difficult to part ways with your money too. I think, we all work really hard and save. And so it's difficult to just hand it off. But there are many examples that I could share where folks are sharing with their children while they're living. Yep.
I've seen a bigger resurgence with, just to your point, too, being able to go witness it in your forefront versus, well, after you pass away, it'd be pretty hard to go get a good gauge of, well, is this necessarily benefiting? Is it not benefiting? But then I think you bring up a very good point, too. Now, of course, hindsight being that you are able to fiscally, but imagine if you're able to help at a younger age or like an age to where they're just starting to come in their own versus maybe they might be more well-established in their late 40s, early 50s versus their 30s or their 40s per se.
Yeah. So along with that goes the question of college, right? And
so
you just had your third.
Yes.
You've got two others.
Yes.
Will you be paying? Is the plan to pay 100% of, assuming
as
that
close
they
as we can.
attend college? Yeah.
As close as we can.
Right.
Yes.
So what's the right answer for other folks? What should people be thinking about when they're thinking about their kids and, how much they're going to
To
contribute.
your point, trying to
Yeah.
get something fair in mind, I think, is more paramount than anything else. And so trying to make it as even as possible. Now,
Yeah.
luckily, we are fortunate that we do not have twins or triplets. That would make it a little more tough, all going to college all at the same time.
that'd be
Luckily,
tricky.
we have a little more of a stagger, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so luckily, not all at the same time. But our goal is right now just trying to go put away money as often as we can.
Yeah.
And letting the compounding work.
Yeah.
Compounding, some would joke, is the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah. For me, I came up with a number for each kid, and I can adjust it for inflation, right? But I've said, hey, each of you are going to get this amount of money for school, and that's how I'm going to help. Now, I may help beyond that, so earmuffs if my kids are listening right now. I might be willing to help beyond that, right? But I do want them to have a feeling of having some skin in the game. And given how expensive college is today, it's really hard to imagine that myself or that many people can afford to just foot the bill for that very easily. You're probably going to have to leverage some debt, and maybe you can help with that debt. But I think you can't sacrifice your own savings and your own retirement for your kids. You want to help them as much as you can, but not to your own detriment, because I have seen people do that.
I couldn't agree more. I think as one little final twist before we go talk about movies, what we've been watching as of late, what would you do? Imagine you save money for 16, 17 years, and then one of your children decides to, well, instead of going to college, hey, go in the military, I'm going to hopefully utilize, I think it's called the GI Bill to go to school. Maybe they want to go to trade school, or maybe they get, hey, there's an amazing opportunity to go right in the workforce where maybe they might not need that. And so in that sense, how would you think about that?
I think as long as it was a responsible decision, right? Then I would try to help as much as I can. And that some of the comments that you made, it would really be dependent on how much I can help, because I've made the decision to save for my kids in 529. So I'm looking for qualified expenses, right?
That's a good point.
Whereas if they decide to do something that doesn't fall under a qualified expense, I don't necessarily have like a pot of money sitting in cash to help with that. I have it in this qualified expense vehicle. So I would try to figure out, as long as we were in agreement that it was the right thing for them, try to figure out how to get that money to them while not hurting, having to pay unnecessary taxes or penalties, things like that.
That's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, summed up pretty well.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching?
Yeah. So went
As of late.
went with the family, saw Spider-Man. So I would
Okay.
enjoyed that. It was
That's
good.
good.
More than anything, right now, I'm excited for the English Premier League is kicking off on Sunday.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to start watching some soccer here.
That's
very
good.
soon. Even though all summer we had it with the World Cup, but this is me being able to watch my team, my Arsenal Gunners.
Geeking out a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. How about yourself?
The Dutton Ranch, continuing in the Taylor Sheridan universe of shows, which I think many Mint Money listeners and followers have probably figured out this time. I like Taylor Sheridan. I like the Western vibes. And so Beth and Rip Dutton are now down in the great state of Texas trying to remake their lives post the Montana boom that was the Yellowstone. And so first couple episodes have been very good, very interesting. And so it's just something about that cowboy mystique
Yeah.
I enjoy a lot.
I get it. I love a great Western film. Unforgiven, one of my favorite movies of all time for sure.
So I think let me ask you this question. In the same year, I think it was 1993 or 94, you saw two Westerns come out at the same time. Tombstone was one of them.
Oh yeah.
And was it Wyatt Earp the second one?
Yeah.
Which one do you like more?
Tombstone for sure. Between Tombstone and Wyatt Earp. Who played Wyatt Earp? I don't remember. I do remember that film.
I thought that was Kevin Costner who played Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, man. But Tombstone is...
Tombstone, okay.
I mean, it's iconic. What a great movie. Val Kilmer is Doc
I forgot about
Holliday.
that,
Oh,
yeah.
Doc Holliday was That's a great movie. Yeah. How about yourself?
I'm gonna have to go with Wyatt Earp.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a big. I love the Genesis. Love his acting.
Yeah.
I still remember. What was his breakthrough film?
Dances with Wolves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another excellent movie.
Yeah, great movie. Definitely, I agree.
Yeah. Almost need. Gosh, that's been probably years since I've seen that. Almost need a rewatch there too.
Yeah, one of the best. That's a great movie.
I will say I don't think I was alive when it came out.
Sure.
Initially, but I remember watching it probably, maybe 10, 15 years ago. Just an amazing film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fantastic movie for sure. I haven't thought about that in a long time. I should rewatch it.
A rewatchable, as some would say.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to another fantastic and great episode of Mint Money. Until next time.